welcome to our Getting Started class. And the idea behind this class is to help you to get started with the preparation for the exam right now or as soon as possible, because we find that students who start studying earlier have a higher chance of successfully passing the exam. And it is quite difficult to study for this exam at the last minute because there is a lot of material to cover, as you will know if you have already taken the exam. Okay, so a bit about us. So SHP Financial Training was founded in 2014, and we started offering CFA prep courses then. Before that, I'm the founder of the school. I was actually the coordinator of the CFA prep course that was at Ambima. That course is no longer operational, the one at Ambima, but we continue to operate. And we are the only school in Brazil offering live online courses. Okay. So students can join our classes live online, which means that you actually join the class online, but as it's happening. And you can interact with the teacher while the class is happening, you can ask questions, and also you have the study discipline of...
So if I enroll at CHP, I will be having classes as I'm in Rio, this way, right here, by Cisco systems.
Just like this, yeah, on the web.
Okay, fine.
And there will also be students in the classroom in Sao Paulo. We're on Avenida Paulista, so we combine the classes. So you will be actually joining the live class with the students in the classroom. We also record the classes. So if you miss the class itself, then you will get access to the recording, and that is available for 1 week after the class. The reason why it's only available for a limited period of time is to make sure that all students are accompanying or following, keeping up with the class and not getting behind. We have other courses as well. We've got courses for ACCA, which is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, and we also have financial English courses and business valuation courses.
I see.
So how can we help you? Our teachers, clients, and partners are from these organizations as well as other organizations. We give our students networking opportunities through events that we have specifically for students, clients, partners, and teachers. And we also give access to job opportunities for students. We obviously provide the training, and our focus is on internationally recognized qualifications. And we have events, the networking events with local as well as international speakers. And we make those online so that people can join from anywhere in Brazil, not just where we're based. So a little bit about me and also about the other tutors. So I teach some of the CFA prep course. And my background is I'm a CFA charter holder. I did the exams in London. And before that, I qualified as a chartered accountant. So I actually went into CFA after already being an accountant, which helped me with the financial reporting part of the paper.
Okay.
And I also have business valuation experience, both in the UK when I was working for the Bank of England, which is the UK central bank, and in Brazil I worked for the valuation team at Ernst & Young or EY. Okay. And my undergraduate degree is in economics. We have around 40 teachers on our database of teachers, and all of our teachers have experience in the financial markets, so relevant work experience, and they have passed the exams that they teach. We also train them. They go through what we call the SHP Training Academy. We do training sessions with the teachers. And there is a quote here from one of our students saying that the teachers are exceptional, real coaches. So we try to provide a service. We provide a service that is a bit more than just teaching, because students need to study at home as well. So we support students with their home study as well as supporting them in the classroom. So it's a holistic approach.
So what I'm reading right now here at the bottom of the slide is you provide, the SHP provides courses for level 1 and 2, not 3.
3 as well, yes. So Lucas did levels 1 and 2 with us.
Okay, Lucas,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. We have a level 3, what we call Referentes Final. We were calling it a revision course, but
okay.
Our marketing team said that revision is not the right word in Portuguese. So it was curso de revisão. It's now curso Reta Final.
Is it level 3 written or multiple choices as well, 1 and 2?
Yeah, so the first paper is a written paper and the second paper is a multiple choice paper. And our Reta Final course is focused 100% on the written paper because that's where people have problems. So
because I am MTA, so the level 1 and 2 were multiple choices, and the level 3 was a written one. It's the same way.
Level 3 has a written paper in the morning and multiple choice in the afternoon.
Okay, it's a little bit different. Okay.
It is, and a lot of people struggle. They have problems with the written paper. So
to me, it's okay.
It's focused on the written paper. Okay, yeah. Okay, so our team, Dia is my assistant, and Cleji is our consultora, sales consultant. So you probably have had contact with both of them so far. I like to introduce them so people know who they are. And then these are just some of our teachers. So we have more teachers. These are the ones that are currently teaching the course we have running at the moment. So we've got Rafael, who works in a large bank, and he's a fund manager. We've got Antonio, who has experience in various funds, including debt restructuring, distressed credit. Okay, they're mostly charter holders. Okay, Antonio also has the CGA certification from Ambima. And then Cesar and Leticia. So I'm not going to read the whole CV, so you can have a quick look to see. And this recording will be available, so if you want to pause it, you can afterwards and read in more detail. And Clarice and Theo. Okay, so each of them teaches, for example, Clarice, she teaches equity, Theo teaches economics, he has a master's in economics, and he also has teaching experience, which, yes, it is on here, part-time lecturer at INSPA, okay, so he has teaching experience at INSPA as well. And actually, Clarice is studying for her PhD at INSPA. So we've got a very good teaching team.
Okay.
Great feedback. And we really do help students.
Okay. Well, what I recall from my exam in 2014, I mean, the part where I least succeeded was about the ethics, and a little bit of a part of financial indexes. I couldn't recall at that time what were each one. I mean, so the rest about math and statistics and etc. I was almost I had succeeded almost the whole part.
Okay, so you had problems with ethics. I've just got the list of topics here. So ethics and which other area?
I mean, in finance, there were some ratios. I couldn't recall the formula, etc. So I mean, I made half of the part.
Okay.
I succeeded half of it. So. But the rest, because I am economist from PUC, Rio de Janeiro, and I had the PhD at IMPA in math economics. IMPA, do you know IMPA?
No, I don't.
IMPA, Instituto de Matemática Pura e Aplicada.
Okay.
In Rio, my specialization was in math economics and probability.
Okay, all right. so just addressing the areas you struggled with then. So ethics is actually, it's important in each of the 3 CFA exams around 50%. Yeah. So I teach ethics because it's an area I like, I know it well. The way it's examined is through case studies or scenarios. So you have an analyst who's working for a fund, and the analyst says something to the client, and is this right? Is this a breach of the standards? So you need to understand what the standards say, and then you need to understand what the appropriate action is in a particular scenario. And in the CFA curriculum, they actually give you the scenarios, lots of scenarios. You need to read them, understand them, because you see similar scenarios in the exam. And the main tip that I give to students regarding ethics is usually in the questions, in the multiple choice questions, you have 3 options. Now, it's not that one is right and the other 2 are wrong. It's usually that one is more right than the others. So you have to choose the best option, and I think people
the best choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then the other area, financial reporting and analysis. So I think you're probably referring to the chapter on the ratio analysis chapter reading. So it's all focused on knowing the ratios that you need to use to analyze a company. So we have liquidity ratios, activity ratios, turnover. We've got DuPont as well, where we break down.
You showed the number of questions, so I'm recalling that the financial report analysis. I mean, I couldn't recall the Sharpe ratio, Modigliani ratio, etc. I couldn't recall the formula, etc. And about ethics, just hold on, just. Wait, eu já te ligo aí. And about ethics, I think I succeeded only in 5 or 6 questions only.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you need to study for the exam. There is 2 reasons for that. One is that the curriculum is very broad, as you found. It covers many different areas, and very few people have knowledge of every single area. And the second reason you need to study is that there are formulae that you have to learn.
Yeah.
And there is no way of avoiding it.
No problem. To me, it's no.
Yeah. So the portfolio, actually, the Sharpe ratio is in portfolio management. So, and again, another thing that I say to students is make sure you have a list of all of the things you need to learn. So that would include all of the formulae, and then anything else that you find difficult to remember. So I've skipped forward in the slides a bit, so I'm just going to go back. Okay. So our clients, and we've got a quotation here from a former student, who said about the course being very complete, everything that you need to do. Basically, our priority is you passing the exam. So that's what we are totally focused on, and we provide a lot of individual attention because we have small groups of students.
Okay.
So we're relatively new. We've given 5 CFA level 1 prep courses, and the students, when they filled in the feedback, have said that they would recommend our course to someone else, so it's nice to hear that. And we can connect you with other students if you want to talk to them. So for example, Helversio here, this is his success story. So he failed the exam the first time because he was doing an MBA program, and he thought he would be able to pass very easily, but he didn't for the reasons that I have just mentioned. The syllabus is very, so then the second time he decided to take our prep course, and I think part of it was to do with the discipline that going to the class had forced, I suppose, and the class program. So he prepared for each class before the class, did some practice questions afterwards, and he passed the exam.
I see.
And he's actually now doing level 3. So good news.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
And then, so that was a bit of an introduction. So our recommendation in this orange box here is to sign up as soon as you can, if you are serious about taking the exam.
Okay.
Because as soon as you sign up, you receive the material from CFA Institute. And you're going to see a little bit later on that we have a list of pre-course reading to be done before the course starts. And what we find is that the students who don't do that reading find it difficult to keep up with the course. The pre-course reading is the more factual reading, which we can add less value to in the classroom. So I'll go through that briefly later on. We're going to talk a little bit about the exam itself, our suggested approach to the reading, the pre-course reading, as I just mentioned, the support we provide, and then our top 5 tips for passing the exam. And then if there are any questions at the end, we can talk. But do interrupt me if you have questions as we're going through as well. So the next exam, there is actually one in June, but the next exam that you have time to prepare for is the 2nd of December. When I was doing the exams, I signed up about 7 months before the exam started because I wanted to give myself lots of time to study and not have a stressful experience, to be honest. And I think the sooner you start, the less stressful it is. So it would be nice if it's an enjoyable experience, you know, where you enjoy learning, you know, it's actually useful as well as giving you a qualification and not stressful. So the exam will be on Saturday the 2nd of December. It's 2 3-hour papers. So you have a morning paper at 9 AM until 12. And the second paper, 2 PM until 5 PM. And each paper has 120 freestanding multiple choice questions. So if you get one question wrong, it doesn't have an impact on the next question. They're all freestanding. There are 3 possible answers to each question, and you have 1.5 minutes per question. So all topics are examined in each paper, and they are in the same order. And they are in the order that they appear in the CFA curriculum, which is this order here in the topic area list. So it starts with ethics. And you can do the questions in any order you want to. I would actually do the questions you're more confident about first. I think what you should be aiming for in the exam is getting as many marks as possible, as quickly as possible. And what I did when I was doing them, and what I advise students to do, is if you find a particular question difficult, move on and go back to it so you don't run out of time. It's very time precious. We're finding that the questions are less and less numerical as time goes on and more conceptual. So even some of the quant questions, they've been moving, they seem to be more, from what we've heard, conceptual in nature. So we in the classroom focus on the concepts that students need to understand. And the more factual reading is set at home study. So just looking at the topic areas then, the most important topic areas in level 1 are ethics, which is 15%, and financial reporting and analysis, which is 20%. So we have 5 classes on financial reporting in the teaching phase of our course. We increased that from 4 classes a year ago because we found that people generally needed more help with the financial reporting. We don't have many accountants taking the prep course. So if you're not already an accountant, then you do need, generally, people do need a bit of extra help with the financial reporting. I'm not going to go through the topic areas any more detail unless you have questions. The pass mark is not publicly available. It's not released by CFA Institute. It's based on what they call a minimum passing score. But we say to students, if you get around 70% in the practice exams, you should pass the real exam. There is no guarantee, but that should be what you aim for. And the 10-year average global pass rate, percentage of people who pass, is around 40%. So, you know, the exam is not that hard if you focus on it, you focus on the right things, and you do practice questions. But I think there are lots of people that underestimate it, and that's why the pass rate is just 40%.
Do they use the same tricks that we find in some exams here in Brazil for any institution? I mean, when an answer has some tricky words like never, exactly, they usually they're wrong answers. Do they use the same trick?
I'm not sure so much if they use tricks with the wording. It's more like they know the common mistakes that people make, and one or two of the wrong answers will be the common mistakes that people make. So, for example, getting the day count convention wrong in fixed income, or not using the debt to equity ratio correctly. If you've got a debt to equity ratio, and you need to calculate debt to total capital, you need to make an adjustment. People don't always know that, and then one of the wrong options, one of the wrong answers to the question will be the common mistake. Yeah, and so to
conduct for the error.
Yeah, I mean, they do test that, and they we have in the course we give students revision. We give them question banks. We give students question banks, and in the question banks we've got lots of questions that focus on the mistakes that people tend to make. So what's our learning methodology? Learn, practice, and consolidate. So learn through the teaching phase of the course, practicing through the revision phase, and then consolidating through mock exam. So we include all of these phases in the course. We have this Getting Started class, which is actually an integral part of the course. So anyone who is coming on our course must watch this, okay, even if it's a recording and not live. Okay, and then we've got the learning phase of the course, which is 21 classes, including a class that we call Success in the Exam. And in the Success in the Exam class, we focus on study planning. We talk about the calculator and calculator tips for people who are not used to using either the Texas Instruments or HP 12C calculators, which are the only ones allowed in the exam. And you do need to be fast on your calculator. Then we have the practice phase, or the revision phase, which is the Peta Final part of the course. We've got 7 classes, and what we do is we actually go back to the core, the most important concepts you need to know. So we teach them in the teaching phase, then we go back in the revision phase to those concepts, and we do lots and lots of practice questions. So practice questions, quizzes, to recall the knowledge from the teaching phase. Because what we find is that the second time that people process the information, it starts to come more easily, so you can answer questions more quickly in the exam.
I see.
And then we have consolidation. So we have 9 hours of exams. We have one partial mock exam, or halfway there exam, at the end, halfway through the teaching phase of the course, which is a 3-hour exam covering half of the content. And then we have a final practice exam of 6 hours, so 2 3-hour papers. And we also have debrief classes after each of those exams, when we go through the questions that students had problems with.
Okay.
Because another thing we emphasize right the way throughout the course is that students have to learn from their mistakes. So this is why we have those debrief classes, so that people don't make the same mistakes again.
Okay. It's the last filter.
The last?
The last filter.
Filter, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like the final push before the exam, yeah. So, okay, so the consolidation is so that you've got all of that. It's basically so you can recall the knowledge quickly. Your exam ready. So we've got three parts to this. We've got seeing the material for the first time, reviewing the material and doing practice questions, and then consolidating, which is under timed conditions, answering questions when the pressure is on.
Okay.
So it's just the system, or the methodology by which we prepare people, so that when you come to doing the exam, you are fully prepared for it. So make your study plan now is our recommendation. Students need to study for around 200 hours at home. The course is 100 hours, so then there is another 200 hours to do at home. On average, this is because on average, the average successful candidate spends around 300 hours studying. And we need to, with the study planning, be realistic about how many hours we can do or can be done home study each day, each weekend, whenever it works in your schedule. So I know some people are very busy with their work, and that's why starting sooner helps, because you don't have to do so many hours every week. When I was studying, I used to do 8 hours every Saturday with breaks. So I did maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, have the break, and went back for another couple of hours, had lunch, etc. But I did it consistently every Saturday.
Okay, it's 9 to 5 on Saturdays.
That's what I did. So, but I know other students have told me, and other teachers as well, some people are morning people. They prefer to get up really early, study in the morning, then go to work and have the weekends free. Some people like to do it at night, in the evening. Okay. So whatever works for you is the most important thing, I think. And then,
I mean, it's a flexible time for studying and on classes, but I have to say in advance what day will I be gathering for the class. Is that the way?
So the classes. So I'm talking about the home studying. Okay. So the classes are fixed on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. But you also need to study at home. So we recommend you create a study plan regarding when you will study at home.
Okay.
Yeah. So we also recommend you take at least the week before the exam off work, so 1 whole week before the exam, to do final preparation, practice exams, learning formula, all of this. Okay. We give you a study plan, so students receive a study plan in Excel from us to plan your time. Okay, and you will get, we will see the pre-course reading list in a couple of slides' time, and that you can start straight away. We don't start the course until August because not everyone is ready to start before then, but you will put yourself at a big advantage in terms of your workload once the course starts if you can do the pre-course reading beforehand.
Okay. So the classes are on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay, because it got Tuesdays when you were speaking.
Oh, okay, yeah, Tuesdays.
Okay, and Thursdays. Okay.
And then we have practice exams on Saturdays, on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what the study plan looks like, and these are the weeks. Each column is a week.
Okay.
Before the exam, and you just and the numbers that are in there already are the hours of the course. And then you just need to complete the remaining time in order to get to 300 hours in total. I actually suggest people aim for 350 because usually it's hard to meet your study plans. And you can see here, time commitment is needed. I think people, it's a really valuable qualification, partly because it's not so easy, and some sacrifices do have to be made. So I know, for example, someone who has got through the CFA program is a very determined individual who has a good level of extremely good level of knowledge, and I only know that because the exams are hard. And employers in general know that. But obviously, to get through those exams, some sacrifices have to be made. Fewer sacrifices, the sooner you start. That's basically it regarding the study planning. Then exam enrollment. So the fees, there's $450. Initial one-off registration, which I guess you've already paid actually, so you wouldn't need to pay that again. One-off. Then the December exam entry fee is currently $930. Okay. And once you pay that, you receive the CFA curriculum online. I actually recommend you pay the extra $150 and get the hard copy books because I think it's easier to study from them.
Okay.
That would be my preference.
Okay.
And they also provide you with topic-based practice tests for each topic and a sample exam. And there's a new mobile app, fairly new, mobile application which CFA Institute has with access to those resources.
Those e-books, they send from in PDF?
PDF.
Extension.
No,
okay.
They're not. It's in a program called Bookshelf, Vital Source Bookshelf.
But I can download that. I can download that.
You can, yes.
Or do I have only access?
You have access, but you can view them. You can download and view offline.
Okay, I can download. Okay.
Okay, so the curriculum, there are 60 readings split into 6 books or 6 volumes. Okay. And there are around 500 LOS or learning outcome statements. When you are looking at the learning outcome statements, you should pay careful attention to the command word. Okay, what do you need to be able to do? Describe, calculate. So just make sure you can do it. Every single question in the exam relates to a learning outcome statement. So if you know the learning outcome statement, you should pass in the exam, as long as you can apply the information.
Okay.
And then each reading ends with practice questions. And your priority should be to do the practice questions at the end of those readings. Sometimes people use other material to help them prepare, but the most important material is the CFA curriculum that is written by the examiners and has the practice.
You follow them?
Yes, we do. So in our prep course, we base everything on the CFA curriculum.
Okay.
We've got, we use BPP material as well as supplementary material. So we have, this is what students get included in the course, no additional cost. So slide packs with all of the slides that are used in the classroom. Study guides on each topic area. They are 5 or 6 pages long, giving an overview of each topic. And question banks for phases 1 and 2, and those have the questions where people commonly make mistakes. So it's really testing people's understanding and testing concepts. Okay, then we have the revision question bank as well, which is a bank of questions specifically for the revision phase of the course. And then we have 2 mock exams or 2 practice exams. One is the halfway there one, which covers half of the material, and the other one is the final one, which covers everything. Okay. And then we also provide students with a book, a BPP book of practice exams. So BPP is the training school that I trained with in London. So I did prep courses for each of the levels in London, and I used BPP. I really like their material, and we import the practice exams from BPP for our students. Okay, so you might have heard of other material. There's availability of other material, for example, Schweizer, which is a summary of the CFA curriculum. But our students use the CFA curriculum itself, plus these extra resources that we include in the course. Okay. Okay, so how do we suggest you approach the reading? So the readings are, some of them are quite long. What we say is to focus on the learning outcome statements. So read the learning outcome statement and then go through the reading. You don't need to read everything, just focus on the learning outcome statement. Answer the questions at the end of the reading, and we say within 24 hours of completing the reading, because it's actually surprising what you can forget if you don't do practice questions. The practice questions help you consolidate what you have just read. Okay? And then if you are not able to get the questions right, you need to go back to the reading. And I say to students to try to get to understand 80% of the readings and then move on, because you are never going to know 100% of the curriculum. Okay? You just need to know enough to pass. So, and in the course, we focus on the core concepts, which are the ones, the theory that you really need to understand to be a financial analyst and to meet the majority of the most important learning outcome statements. So we focus on those, and you do see certain topics and certain concepts coming up in every single exam. For example, CAPM, capital asset pricing model, you have to understand that. That is a core concept, it's a fundamental theory in finance that you must understand. So we cover those concepts in the course, and you will do lots of practice questions on them in the teaching phase and the revision phase, and then in the mock exam. The final step here, number 4, is just to mark the questions you get wrong so that you can go back to them later, just to make sure that you're not getting them wrong again.
Okay.
And there's just an example of a learning outcome statement for people who are not familiar with them here. The learning outcome statement just says what you need to be able to do. And the exam, again, all of the questions in the exam are based on the learning outcome statements. You need to demonstrate the application of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. So application, that means they're going to give you a scenario and they are going to ask you to apply the Code of Ethics and the Standards of Professional Conduct. So you need to say, according to the Standards of Professional Conduct, what is the appropriate course of action in this specific scenario?
Okay.
So classroom course, we cover the conceptual material, and you can see just some core subjects. So yield to maturity, fundamental importance in finance theory and fixed income. CAPM, I mentioned before, net present value and internal rate of return, fundamentally important.
Okay.
Elasticity, LIFO, FIFO, okay. And then we have the non-core subjects, which are included in the home study reading, and that's factual information. For example, different types of auction markets, just the definitions of what they are. Histograms, which is a statistics concept, we can't have value. Dow theory, structured notes, just some factual information which is in the curriculum. Okay. So there is a note here. Any individual item here is less frequently examined than the core subjects, but the exam will have a significant number of questions from these topics. So it is important to get coverage. You need to have depth on the concept and breadth on the facts. If you get the breadth on the facts, you're likely to pick up some extra marks, and you must have the depth of understanding in the concept in order to get the questions right in those areas, because we know there will be questions on CAPM and yield to maturity.
Okay.
There will be, yeah. So that's the way we structure the course, and then this is the pre-course reading. So when students enroll, we send a study guide, and the study guide has this list of pre-course reading and also the course program. So the pre-course reading is all of the readings that are factual or non-core, and if you can start to do those before the course starts, then you will, as I mentioned before, be in a very good position.
Okay.
Because I can tell you, once the course starts, you will not want to do this reading, as well as all the doing the practice questions and reading up on the core concepts that we're covering in the course.
Okay.
And that we have a quiz at the beginning of the first class.
When you write critical, I mean it's more than a high level.
Yeah, exactly. So there are actually 4 critical readings in the curriculum. You can see 3 of them here, which are included as home study. They're included as home study. In this particular case, actually, we will go through these concepts again in class, but we just want people to have a start on these. So you can see the suggested number of hours. The pre-course actually less than the suggested number of hours.
Okay. It's written here that guidance for standards 1 to 7. These are related to ethics too, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the ethics, the critical ethics reading. That has standards 1 to 7, what they are, and has the scenarios, the case studies in it. So we set that as pre-course reading because it will help you to have a bit of an understanding, a bit of background to that before we cover it in class. And then the 2 quants readings here, which are time value of money and discounted cash flow applications, are used in other areas. So
it's okay to me.
For example, in fixed income, they come up again. Okay, and you can see the suggested hours is greater than the pre-course reading. So we suggest you focus on, and we have a study. We have actually got a getting started guide, which we send to students when they sign up, and that gives more information about what you should do in the pre-course reading. But it's to prepare you for the start of the course.
Okay.
So our 5 most valuable tips for passing the exams. So resource planning. Okay, and that's what the importance of studying the study plan. Plan so that you can see how your life is going to be for the next however many months until the exam, and just see if it's manageable for you. And of course, the sooner you start, the more manageable it will be.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, and then focus on the right things. So some concepts are more highly examined than others. We've just been talking about the core concepts. We cover those in the course. You do need to make sure you're focusing on the right things and not worrying too much about all of the details. Okay. So in the course, the slides really help focus on the most important concepts, and then the practice questions we do in class, and then that we give to students in the question bank are ones that are based on the most important, most highly examined concepts. And then practice. So part 3, practicing questions. We have mock exams under timed conditions. We recommend students do 5 mock exams. So one is the sample exam from CFA Institute. The other one is the one we do as part of the course. And the other 3 are in the BPP book of practice exams that we provide to students. So that's 5 exams.
Okay.
And then review. So make sure you go back to the questions you got wrong. It's quite surprising how people do actually make the same mistakes again. So we really want students to focus on not making the same mistakes again. And also to understand why a mistake was made. Was it a lack of understanding? Was it a failure to read the question properly? Or was it a lack of knowledge? So depending on what the cause of the problem is, we help students with the solution. So sometimes it can be a problem in understanding the question, sometimes in applying the knowledge, etc. So that's also in the debrief classes for the mock exams. We don't just go through the questions that everyone got wrong, and there are usually some questions that everyone got wrong. We also go through questions that students identify that they wanted to go through because they didn't understand the answer. So we do a thorough review of the mock exams afterwards. And actually, this is another thing that we've noticed is that students don't always spend as much time reviewing the exams after they've done them as they spend doing the exams. So in your study plan, I recommend that you have the 6 hours to do an exam, a mock exam, and then plan another 6 hours for reviewing it, because actually the review time should be as much as doing the exam. And then the final one, very important, discipline. So you can have all of these plans, but if you don't stick to them, then you won't meet your objectives. So discipline is very important. Start early and keep studying in order to be successful. Okay. So we do our best to make sure that students do stick to their plan and keep on track. Okay. So why study with us? Well, we are here to help you pass the exam. It is our top priority. You're not on your own. All of the teachers have been through this experience, and we're here to help. Okay? And we are very accessible. So we have a WhatsApp group for students. We're also available by email, cfa1@shptraining.com. And you can see here we've got experienced, highly qualified and trained tutors, which you saw at the beginning. We have small classes, which means students get lots of individual attention. We have the live online option as well as recordings, so that's more flexible. People in Sao Paulo, we're in a good location right next to a metro station.
Your office is the building that has Banco do Brasil on the street.
It's opposite. It's the other side of the street.
The opposite. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, this is that. And then we offer good, excellent value for money because all of the material is included, and we have the small class sizes. And so Claygy can provide information about pricing and things. There is a price table here.
Would you send me this slide by email?
Yeah, I'll ask Claygy to do a follow-up and send the information to you, yeah.
Okay.
And then any questions still? Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Going back to the question.
Okay. So the next classes will start on August, right?
Yeah, they start in August, exactly.
Okay.
At the very beginning of the August. I think it's the 1st or the 2nd of August. It's a Tuesday.
Okay. I'll make my arrangements here. Okay. Fine. Well, Susan, thank you very much for your time.
1st of August. No, thank you for your attention. It's been really nice to get the questions from you. We are here to help. So I hope that you do decide to go ahead and that we're able to help you through your journey to becoming a CFA charter holder.
Okay. So I hold the MTA and CFA.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see.
Excellent. Well, I'm a chartered accountant and a CFA charter holder, and I think, these qualifications are very good because you have them on your CV. It gives you job security, and you can work anywhere you want in the world. Nice position to be in.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay, Joseph. Well, I'll stop the recording.